Are these the best earbuds for your Pixel phone? Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm checking out, Dave Taylor here, and I'm checking out these. These are the Google Pixel Buds True Wireless Stereo Headphones. Why they call them headphones when they're clearly earbuds is a little beyond me, but we'll just roll with their terminology. Now, these are pretty sweet. They feature a 12mm dynamic driver and spatial vent. And spatial vent, kind of a weird name, but it's really important because what it does is when it's in your ear, there's a tiny little air space so that the pressure inside your ear canal is balanced with the environment around you. Now, that means there's a tiny bit less noise isolation, but if you're on an airplane or something, you will thank the designers for doing that. Trust me on that. Now, let me just say up front, they're not active noise canceling. They're not ANC, so that acoustic buffer or isolation is all you got. Now, the good news is it does come with 3 different sizes of ear tips, and as you can see, it's a pretty distinctive design, and this is actually a touchpad, so you can do various gestures. In fact, here's a shortcut on all the different gestures you can use with the Pixel Buds, and it's very, very intuitive, so it's very easy to volume up, volume down, to click and hold, to talk to Google Assistant or something. Really nice. Now, they're powered by Bluetooth 5.0, obviously. As with all of these, they have a very neat charging case. So you put them in the case, and this is a really great piece of design because it's a really nice soft plastic. It's small. The earbuds themselves have somewhat mediocre battery life. Each one can run for 5 hours of listening or music or video, whatever, or only 2.5 hours of talk time. Now, that's not great, but they do sound good on phone calls. And honestly, most people aren't on phone calls for 2.5 hours, but still, I was a little surprised that talking eats up 50% of your battery, or your battery goes down 50% faster, however you want to look at it. So 5 hours of listening, 2.5 hours of talk, 5 more charges in the case. The case can charge both via USB-C, and if you happen to have a Qi wireless charging pad like I do from OtterBox, it will charge wirelessly. And what's really cool is if you happen to have something like a Pixel 5, which I do, then you can use battery share and you can charge it right off your phone. That is a cool feature that Apple has not figured out. So I really like this. If your phone's fully charged, you can always give your earbuds, your Pixel Buds, a little bit of a boost. Now, one of the cool things is when you actually open up your Pixel Buds, once they're paired to your Pixel phone, and like I said, this is a Google Pixel 5, then as you can see in this inset, it automatically shows you the charge and battery levels of both the earbuds and the charging case. Super helpful. In fact, there's a very rich and sophisticated interaction. For me to pair them, literally all I had to do was get my Android phone, my Pixel 5, then I opened these up and that was it. And let me show you the whole sequence that it went through. And there's just a lot of different steps. You can really fine tune the settings and configuration. And there's even an educational component here as you go through all the different screens. I kind of rushed it because I already know how to use them, but if you were still trying to figure out and learn how to use these, this is a great way of interacting. Now, the only thing that I was a little baffled by is it said there was a software update available, but there was no way for me to say, all right, well then update the firmware. So I assume that if I just used them at some point, they would magically have the new firmware on them. That's actually pretty consistent with how Apple does it with its AirPods, where it might or might not tell you there's an update, but it will just apply it invisibly in the background. That's probably just fine, but I just hate to think that I was in a situation where for some reason I went and put them in here or something, or they ran out of battery without me realizing they were halfway through a firmware update. Probably there's protection that makes sure that doesn't happen, but I don't know. Now, this whole thing is IPX4 sweat resistant, so you can wear your earbuds. And by the way, you can see in this close-up, there's a little ear hook on it, so it doesn't just stick and sit in your ear. So you put it in, and then you turn it, and here's a close-up of what it looks like in my ear. It looks like, honestly, I just like put a Mentos in my ear, but they sound a lot better than a Mentos would in my ear. So, gesture control, 3 sizes of ear tips. In fact, the packaging's beautiful. Let's just go through this like mini unboxing. So you have this, you take these out, and then you have the 2 other sizes of ear tips in there. And then you look at this and you're like, oh, okay. So you open this, and then hidden underneath it is a USB-C charging cable. Very neat. And then underneath that, in the very bottom, are warranty and disclaimers and licensing and safety, and a very small get started. I mean, literally it's 3 panels gets you started, because especially if you have a Pixel phone, it's just incredibly intuitive and incredibly easy to have this thing just basically auto configure and auto set up on your phone, and you are good to go. So they did a beautiful job with the packaging, so much so that I rather famously earlier actually opened this on camera, and the earbuds fell out and fell off my table. Luckily, they're also well made, so that didn't affect it one iota. So lots to like about this, but let's talk about it. So in terms of phone calls, the results are decent, but not great. It's just the reality if the microphones are in your ear and you're talking here, that's just a long way for the sound to travel. So you'll probably find yourself upping your speaking volume just a little bit. The people at the other end sound really good. Latency wise, it was a mixed bag. So when I watched like sports videos on ESPN or, stuff directly off of Google search, that seemed to work well, and latency wasn't an issue. But when I actually went on YouTube, some of the videos did have some latency issues, which means that the sound wasn't perfectly in sync with lip motion. So that might be something you would experience differently, but I will say my pairing of my Pixel 5 and my Pixel Buds did not give me a perfect listening environment every single time. That might be important for you, but then again, if you're exercising or you're on the treadmill and you have this sitting here playing your favorite TV show and you're listening through your Pixel Buds, you might not really even care that it's off by half a second or something. So just want to mention that. I really like the gesture controls. I really like the battery management. I really like that it comes in 4 colors. This is white, but it also comes in orange and black and green. That's a sort of a light mint green. Really, really nice. Now, the things I'm not so impressed by is it feels a little overpriced for ones that don't have ANC. And I will also say that I wasn't very impressed with the battery life. For modern earbuds, I feel like these should last more than 2.5 hours if I'm on a phone call or a Zoom meeting or something. And you can use them individually, so I can charge one while I'm using the other one. By default, as soon as you take either one out, your audio pauses, but you can just press play and it'll know what to do. So that's nice. And it also does have the sensors. So when I take this out, automatically my music will start playing. And when I take them out of my ears and put them back into charge, it'll automatically pause. All of that's very graceful, and it's very much what you expect from modern high-end device. So let's talk about the sound. They sound really good. Now, I want to say, get the right size ear tips. It comes with 3 different sizes. So the default ones are medium, but I would always encourage you to try other sizes to find that perfect point between it being just big enough to fill your ear canal, but not so big that it's uncomfortable. Because again, you want to have that spatial vent working too, because it's much more pleasant to have equalized air balance and air pressure. But get that right, and all of a sudden you get full, rich music with a nice sound stage. So the music reproduction on these is really good. I would definitely recommend them for that, and for their tight and really pleasant integration with the Android system, especially on the Pixel. It will work with any Bluetooth device, of course. So if you want to use these with your iPhone because you're a rebel, it will work. Now, it won't be as tightly integrated, so the AirPods are sort of the iPhone most integrated earbuds, and then these are the most integrated for Android and especially for the Pixel line. But you don't have to limit it to that. The weight, the size, the finish, the overall, the packaging and everything, they really got so much right here. You know, just not quite perfect. And when we get to the price, which I'll get to in just a second, you might be a little surprised at how much they cost. So, speaking of which, I'm going to ask if you would be so kind as to subscribe to my channel. Really appreciate when you do that. It's just that red button on the lower right, a click or a tap, and boom, you're subscribed. And if you do have the Pixel Buds, I'd be super interested in hearing what you've paired them to, so leave that in the comments. And otherwise, let's talk price. These are the Google Pixel Buds True Wireless Stereo Headphones. They come in black, orange, white, or mint. Obviously, these are the white pair. And they are $179.99, currently discounted $20 to $159.99 at store.google.com. You can also pick them up at places like Best Buy, and I believe Target and Walmart also carry them. So check their websites to make double sure, but they're probably going to be about the same price. And I gotta say, at $179, I'm just not convinced these are the right and the best purchase for that price. And I really wish they had ANC and better battery life, but maybe that'll be the Pixel Buds 3. This is the second gen. Maybe the third gen will have even better battery life, and that'll be a real win. Meanwhile, if you're looking for really good audio reproduction that's tightly integrated into your Android system, this is definitely one to check out. So with that, I'm going to go back to listening to my music, which means I'll catch you in my next video.